to the plate. Not looking for casuals, looking for debate. Fluent versus chill versus everyone. Break it down till the best one wins. More fluent every time we talk. That's not ridiculous. Let us hear your thoughts, Walk.
I almost just hit end the stream.
Don't do that, Tone. We just got here. What you doing? We just got here, Tone. What are you doing?
It was
trying
a
to
big.
clock out early.
What's going on?
There's a big red button in the corner. I'm like, I need to click it.
You just want to touch it? You just want to touch it, Tone. You're the fly that just wants to fly to the light. That's going to zap you. Is that what you are, Tone?
And that's why I'm going to die.
Oh, boy.
I'm flying to the light. That's why I'm going to die.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What up, y'all?
Yeah.
Yo.
Y'all know what it is. For those of you watching at home, that's him right over there, Tony Tone. My man Jalen Carter in the house. That's Chris. And I, Chill. You know what this is. This is Fluent and Chill versus everyone. And this is what we do on a Wednesday night. We get it on. We got the boxing gloves on. We in the ring. We sparring. We are ready to get to it. We have some really interesting topics tonight to talk about. Tone and I were supposed to discuss the NCAA tournament yesterday. We did not get to that. That's unfortunate because I, as a UConn homer, am saying today that I am very happy that St. John's is in the same bracket with Duke because UConn's not going to have to worry about them because Duke's going to take care of them. So that's good.
Now we are. Duke definitely going to take care of St. John. We ain't worried about St. John's.
Nope.
We're already looking at
Duke's
the
going to take care of them. So
Hell no.
That's not going to be a problem. So I think UConn's going to end up back in the Final Four. So
in that case, I feel like since we're down a judge, we might be down a topic. So if that's the case, I feel like we should, instead of, since we didn't get to make our 2 picks yesterday, we can make 4 picks today. So let's start right here. We got Duke and St. John's. As you mentioned, Duke and St. John's. I'm going to try to make this a little bit better so you can read it a little bit better. Feel free to whatever. All right, here we go. Duke, St. John's. Let's start there.
Yep.
Look,
Chris.
Duke on paper is a better team, but St. John's is tricky though. There's one of those teams that just good ball movement. They play well together. Star power is Duke. Like Duke has probably 3 NBA. I mean, probably 3 or 4 NBA guys. 2 lottery picks. I'm taking Duke, but it'll be a close one. It won't be a blow. It'll be a close one.
You're a Dookie.
Yeah.
Are you a Dookie? I did not know that you were a Dookie. I did not know that.
Shout out KJ.
Is Dookie
Shout out
through
Allen Brand. Hey, the good Dookie.
I did not know that. Would it surprise you that I grew up with Bobby Hurley? Did I ever tell you that?
Hey, okay.
Yes, sir.
Legend. Did his assist record just get passed recently?
Yes, the kid from Purdue. The kid from Purdue did it.
Wow.
I grew up with Bobby Hurley. So anyway,
So who you got, Jay?
so I think that UConn's going to take care of Michigan State. I feel like
Oh no, it's Duke and St. John's. That's all you're doing right now.
I'm just doing Duke and St. John's. My fault. My fault. We're sticking with Duke and St. John's. Yes, I think Duke is going to take care of St. John's. I think that Duke just has more. I think they got more firepower than St. John's. I'm not in love with St. John's point guard. I mean, everybody's enamored with that buzzer beater. Just so you know, it's the only shot he hit the whole game. He didn't score up until that point. He wasn't doing anything.
It's the only one he needed to hit.
Yeah, he's not. He hasn't done anything. So, and I do have a bit of an agenda. So that's why I'm picking Duke over St. John's.
All right, Chris.
Supervised. My dad went to St. John's, although he went to the St. John's, the campus in Staten Island, not the one in Queens. The one in Staten Island closed, I believe, 2 years ago. But I've been to 2 St. John's games this year. Obviously, big Pitino guy. I'm a big Zubi Ejiofor guy. They've been, they've been both consistent and inconsistent at the same time. They've led for pretty much the entire tournament, and then won at the buzzer beater last game. So that being said, Duke is just clearly the better team, and it would take very much of an overall game plan from Pitino to shut down the role players outside of Boozer. I don't think you're going to shut down Boozer, but so I'll go Duke. Even though I'll go Duke. Even though I'm obviously rooting for St. John's.
As everybody knows, I spent my summers in Kentucky at the University of Kentucky with Rick Pitino and company. and he then went to play for in my country, or coach, excuse me, in my country in Greece. As you know, he went over there. So I will be the lone one.
Whoa! Don't just gloss over that, Tone. Who did he coach in Greece?
Olympiacos.
Yes, sir. That's the Lakers of the EuroLeague. So it wasn't like he just.
That's my team as well. I didn't want to go into that whole thing because
it wasn't like he just coached a good team. He coached the Lakers of the EuroLeague. So
has the legend of Rick Pitino fallen off though? Because I remember watching college basketball in like the 2000s. Rick Pitino was held like he was being held right next to or right under Coach K. Right under Roy Williams, right? But nowadays, hold on. He had a whole scandal situation in Louisville. And I mean, if you look at his Louisville record, it wasn't the most impressive. Like he had
won a national championship. Jalen, what are you talking about?
I'm just saying one.
And what's Louisville done since then? And what was St. John's before he got there?
I'm just saying the name Rick Pitino. I just remember it carried a lot of pizzazz, almost like a Pat Riley. And it just seems like he's kind of fallen off a little bit from that.
You want to talk about all your Duke coaches and how many national titles they won?
I mean, Duke that we know, we living on Coach K, right? You know, right now we still living on Coach K's name, and that's okay, right? It's gonna, it's okay.
Okay, thank you. So I'm gonna go with the legend of Rick Pitino, which still exists. Shout out to his son. I'm so sorry for slapping you. So I'm gonna go with St. John's. I'm gonna go with St. John's. All right, Michigan State, UConn. I know where Jay's going with this one because him and Fluent Jr. are Huskies through and through. I think.
Yep, I'm going to take UConn. I think they got more of a vet unit. I think they're bigger. I think they run better action. I do think Tom Izzo is the better coach, but I just think that Coach Hurley is a good enough coach with the talent he has. I do think that he's just going to prevail in this game playing against Michigan State. I don't think you have to overcomplicate this with a team like Michigan State.
So I personally had it. Yeah, so I actually had Michigan State losing last round to Louisville, and I had Louisville actually beating UConn. But that being said, I will end up taking UConn in this matchup probably. I think that they're overall more disciplined. I feel like they're more battle tested. They had the Big East championship against St. John's. They got blown out, but overall, like whenever there's like a tiebreaker, I always tend to go with the better coach. So even though both of them are greatly coached, obviously, I think that UConn is slightly better. So I'll go with UConn here.
Wait, I'm talking about. We think UConn has a better coach than Tom Izzo.
I did not think that.
Yeah, I don't think
so.
Okay, Tom Izzo is one. He's phenomenal in the tournament. Tom Izzo has taken some really mediocre teams far into the tournament. With this talent, man, UConn's a better team. Again, I think talent-wise, too, player-wise, they're a better team. But that Tom Izzo effect is so real. This will be close. I'm going to go UConn, but by like 2 points.
So you got a dogfight going on.
Yeah, I got a real, look, if last second shot, March, man, last second shot, to me, it's a top 52%, 48. It's right there. I'm going to edge it out to UConn, but, man, Izzo and Michigan State are always a problem in the tournament.
I could see something like 77 to 69, UConn pulling away late, icing it with free throws. I could see something like that.
Who'd you go with, Jalen? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
How about UConn? UConn, at the buzzer or last 10 seconds of the game, somebody's hitting or missing.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish up, Jay.
I could see, like I said, I could see UConn just pulling away late, basically having control of the game late in the game, and Michigan State has to foul. They come up with some big stops and rebound the basketball. They got a monster on the glass at UConn. I mean, he had 25 rebounds in the first game that they played, so they got a legit glass cleaner. So I could see them having control of this game in like the last 2 minutes and, coming up with a big shot and then icing the game at the free throw line, pulling away like 69 to 60, something like that.
So I forgot to mention about Rick Pitino. I just want you to look at him, how he reacted after they hit the winner. That's why St. John's is beating Duke. Okay, that being said, who can answer? Who's my favorite basketball player of all time?
Magic Johnson.
And what school did Magic go to?
Michigan State.
Michigan State. The Spartans. Where are the Spartans from?
Greece.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
See the connection here? Rick Pitino spent the summers with them, coached in Greece. Boom, I'm going St. John's. Michigan State has my favorite player of all time played there, and a Spartan is obviously a Greek warrior. So I'm going Spartans as the lone wolf. Ooh, on both of these. Let's see if we can keep it 3 for 3. Next up, we're going to look at, let's go Texas at Purdue.
Texas at Purdue. Like Purdue's been rolling. Yeah. And we just got finished talking about their point guard. I think they're going to control the pace of the game, even though when they run up on teams, they've run up on a lot of teams that live in Tone's neighborhood. Like they haven't run up on teams living in the neighborhood that I grew up in. And when they run up on those teams, they kind of get, and Texas is one of those teams. But I think that they can outlast Texas. So I'm gonna take Purdue in this game. I think their point guard is heady enough that he can handle it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Purdue as well. Obviously, Texas has been super impressive. Obviously, the upset over Gonzaga. I personally had Gonzaga making my Final Four. But all that being said, Purdue. I feel like most Cinderella runs usually come to an end after during the Sweet 16. So Purdue 7.5 point favorites. So I'll go with Purdue pretty easily.
Hey, a lot of Cinderella runs do end, but not this one. I'm trusting Pope. I'm trusting Hyde. They just have a team of like no superstars. This is a Texas team with no superstars, just guys who all play their role, hit shots. They don't make any stupid plays. They don't make any amazing plays, but beating Gonzaga is a big deal. Gonzaga, like Chris said, a lot of people had them going to the Final Four. Great team. I'm gonna keep rolling with the Cinderella story. Give me the Longhorns over Purdue here.
We got to speed this along, so I'm going to go through the next 3 games quicker. But let me start by saying, let's go Texas, horns up. So that's all I'm saying right
Hook
there.
'em horns. Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em. So that's an easy one for me.
Mhm.
Okay, just quickly. I don't need the analysis. Arizona, Arkansas.
I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, that's Arizona. That's number 1 seed. Too good.
Mm-hmm.
I used to live in Tucson, Arizona.
You lived everywhere.
Met
all over the place.
Met a lot of nice people over there.
Mm-hmm.
I always tease Richard Jefferson about this place that we used to go to called the Cactus Moon. Every time I bring it up, he gets real quiet, though.
Sounds like some stuff happened at the Cactus Moon. I should probably stay at the Cactus Moon.
The Cactus Moon was the place to be. So
I'm gonna Google Cactus Moon right now.
I'm a fan. All right, quickly, Iowa, Nebraska.
I'm gonna take Nebraska.
Nebraska too, yeah.
Nebraska. I'm gonna take Nebraska.
I guess I'll take Nebraska too.
Fred Hoiberg got them dudes rolling over there. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna since everyone's taking Nebraska, then I'll just take Iowa for just to be a contrarian. Houston, Illinois.
I got Houston in the Final Four, so I'm going with Houston.
And I have Illinois in my Final Four, actually.
Shout out to Utah State.
You're both going Houston?
I'm going Illinois.
Oh, you're going Illinois?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Toss up. I'm gonna edge it to Illinois.
Chicago Bears, Illinois. Even though they're moving out to Indiana. Michigan, Alabama.
I think I got Michigan in the Final Four too. Yeah, I do. Michigan's great.
So do I.
Michigan.
I'll take
Michigan all day. Yeah, it's Michigan all day.
Big blue, baby. So everybody's on Michigan. Tennessee, Iowa State.
Iowa State, I got. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll take Iowa State too.
Yep.
Yeah, no upset here. Iowa State.
I think Ori's here.
I know he's here. I'm making him wait.
Oh,
I made him wait. You don't get to make any. I'll go Iowa State too. You don't get any college picks. All right, so let's dive into it now. Then, since we're all here and ready to go, Jalen was here like 15 minutes early. I saw him. He was sitting on his phone. He was doing research. He was smiling, so I'm sure he was texting someone.
I was crying over my bets that we're not hitting. That's what we're doing.
No, don't do that because I'd still be crying over all the money I lost at the casino in Detroit.
Casino's even worse.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So let's kick us off. What's the topic that we have for today?
Yeah. So today, a lot of MVP talk going on. Luka making a run, SGA. people mentioned Jaylen Brown. A lot of names going around. Wemby personally making this case, doing this thing. So we're going to talk about an MVP race, but we're going a little back in history. We're going to talk about the least deserving MVP. We're going to focus on two guys, the least deserving MVP.
Gee, I wonder who one of them is going to be.
Yeah.
What are them going to be? Second year Steve Nash, the second year of the backpack, right? Second year Steve Nash, and Derrick Rose in his Chicago year, what he did. We're going to give a Chilltown Derrick Rose. I'm going to give Fluent Steve Nash. Least deserving MVP.
Wow. Yikes.
Least deserving MVP.
Start off with a heater.
Fluent to start it off.
I just want to be clear. Is it Steve Nash's first?
Second.
In 06.
Oh,
In
it's
06.
Second.
The second one in 06. And we're arguing. I want to make sure that I'm following you guys. We're arguing that each of these guys didn't deserve it.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
which one didn't deserve it more? All righty. So, all right. So, LeBron James, who at that point in his career, and I'm going to bring up James. The reason why I'm going to bring up James is because he was at that point the two-time league MVP in back-to-back seasons in 2008-09 and 09-10. Well, he ends up moving on and goes to the Miami Heat, and now he becomes the villain. So that lovable character that everybody loves, who is now arguably, if I think he's the best player in the league, he's no longer that. He's the villain now. He's the guy that's a part of the establishment. Meanwhile, Derrick Rose says to everybody that what reason shouldn't I be? Why can't I win it? Well, I'll tell you why you couldn't win it. Because James was better than you. That's why you couldn't win it. James was better on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball. I can appreciate.
Did he freeze?
Yeah, Chill did freeze on us.
There we go.
You're back now. You're back.
You're
now.
good. You're good.
Are we hot?
Okay,
What was the
we're
last
hot
thing
now.
you guys heard?
You're about to say why LeBron James was better than Derrick Rose.
Okay, right. So Derrick Rose ends up winning the league MVP in 2010, 2011. They had won 62 games. Meanwhile, that Miami Heat team, which James gets on that team, he is now the villain, even though he's still playing elite defense. And not only is he still playing elite defense, he's still the elite offensive player that he is. He was averaging 25 a game. He had shot the three better that year than he had done in years past. In addition to that, he was first team, or he was in the middle. I'm not going to say just that he was first team all league defense. What I'm doing when I do that is I'm underselling it. He was in the middle of a prime LeBron James. He was arguably the best defensive player in the game at that point. And in addition to him being the best defensive player in the game, he gets on this Miami Heat team where he's the catalyst to that team offensively. He's leading them in scoring. He's leading them in assists. I think he's leading them in rebounding. And they end up winning, I believe, 50-plus games. And they were touted to be a damn good team, only except that Chicago Bulls team was picked to go to the NBA championship. The Miami Heat weren't picked by ESPN to go to the NBA championship. It was the Lakers and the Chicago Bulls. So with Derrick Rose actually being at the top of the MVP ladder with what he had done, I felt like James was the better player. I felt like he had done more on the offensive and defensive side of the basketball. I felt like with that group that he had with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, they had never played with each other. People just expected it to work, and it was obvious that it didn't. James himself, he said, quote, "I don't even know how we got to the NBA championship that year because they were such a dysfunctional unit because we didn't really know what exactly it was we were doing. But offensively, defensively, as a passer, I still had to get acclimated to playing with everybody. And I still led the team in overall offense. I still was the best defensive player on the team. I still was the best player in the league at that point. I don't think that there was a question whether or not I was the best player. I think the reason why he didn't win the league MVP that season was because he went to the Miami Heat, and with him going to the Miami Heat, he now became the villain, and with him becoming the villain, that swayed the voters. I think that voters, and I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I think the voters saw that, and they definitely used that against him with him playing for the Miami Heat.
Steve Nash not only didn't deserve to win his first MVP, he didn't deserve to win his second MVP. And when we say why, it's because Steve Nash is a victim, is a beneficiary, depending on how you want to look at it, of a system that allowed him to put up good numbers. Not even, guys, 18 and 10 is not outside worldly. Like it's great. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic, but you have to look at the type of offense that they played, the speed in which they played, that 7-second Mike D'Antoni pad everybody's stats system. So when you look at it, even statistically, you're looking at a guy who was, like I said, 18-10. But we're talking about in a season when you had a guy like LeBron James who was dropping 31, 32, 7-7, and clearly a significantly better defender. Wemby said it best a couple of days ago. MVPs are supposed to play both sides of the ball. So you have a guy in LeBron James who scored more, rebounded more steals, more blocks, played defense. The only thing he didn't do was he had a few, I think 3.5 less assists than him. And who's more important when we talk about most valuable to their team? Could you plug in another, don't get me wrong, great point guard into that system to feed Amari Stoudemire and to get that team going? 100%. 100%. They wouldn't drop off that much. Could you put another player that was in the league at that time on the Cleveland Cavaliers and expect them to succeed? The answer is no. Not only is he not deserving because LeBron should have won it over him, you also had Kobe, who, because his team didn't win enough, he didn't get the votes, but Kobe put up 35, 5-5, again, as a better defender, more steals, more shot blocks, playing both sides of the ball, and clearly more valuable. Just think about it. With Kobe on that team, they won 47, I think, games that season. How many games do they win without him? 7? So I'm not big on analytics and that stuff, but win shares, as an example, there's 10 guys that got MVP votes that had a higher win share than Steve Nash.
Interesting.
So I'm looking at guys, if I look up and down the list of who got votes in terms of LeBron and Dirk and Kobe and Chauncey, Dwayne Wade, Tim Duncan, there's some one-way players, but there are a lot of two-way players in there like Duncan, Kobe, and LeBron who all put up the same type of numbers, were more important, valuable players to their team, had higher win shares, who didn't win it because this guy won it his second time because he averaged 3 more points than the year before. Let's be honest. That's why they gave it to him, because the previous year he was 15-11. Oh, and this year was 18-10. It's kind of like if they would have done Russell Westbrook after he got his 30-plus point triple-double season. Oh, well, he got a triple-double the next season. Oh, we got to give it to him again. No, you don't. Most undeserving, a system quarterback at best. Yes, I'm going to use a football reference. And he got it just because of that. He's a system MVP. Both LeBron and Kobe, take your pick. Probably a couple other guys robbed of an MVP that season.
So Derrick Rose at that point, because it's interesting you bring up Steve Nash. You bring up Steve Nash in the system. Derrick Rose was in a system with Tom Thibodeau. They had the best defense in the league. That's number one. So a lot of that was carried with Derrick Rose. That 25 a game that he was scoring, it wasn't just because he was getting buckets. He had a really good player on his team in Carlos Boozer. He had another really good player in Lou Aldang, but they also had a fantastic defense. And since you're talking about system, Stone, I don't know if you remember this, but Michael Jordan played in the system. It was called the triangle. He was really good when he played in that system. Not only did he play in that system, Kobe Bryant played in the system. Shaq played in the system. It was called the triangle, and these guys were really good. But with Derrick Rose playing in the system that he played in, he was really flawed as an offensive player. His mid-range wasn't there. His ability to score, like he was able to do that later on in his career, if we had seen him healthy, I think it would have been better. But I think that this Chicago Bulls team thrived a lot on defense. This Chicago Bulls team, thrived a lot on defense with Derrick Rose scoring what he was scoring. And I think that with James, and I think that with other guys, I think that they were much better, not just as overall players, but just for their units.
You talked about teammates, right? Sean Marion, Raja Bell, Boris Diaw. The Phoenix Suns were stacked. He probably won it because Amari was hurt that season. But you talk about Derrick Rose, he won it because of something that's super important. And the Bulls did it better than anyone that season. They won 60+ games. Phoenix didn't even do that. They won 54 games. Yeah, sure, they were first in their division. But it wasn't even like they rewarded mediocrity. Derrick Rose, to your point, put up numbers that you might say, 25, whatever he did was okay. But because of the 62 wins and he was the number one team, that propelled him to MVP. Steve Nash had great stats on a great team that did nice. Like 54 wins is nice, but it's not like they did something exceptional, 60, 65, something wins that propelled them to the top. So can you turn off that damn ringer? Or is that the timer?
That's not his timer.
Of course, it was the timer. Obviously,
Time.
it's the only way you're gonna not talk for an extra 20 seconds after it goes on.
It's very distracting.
Oh man.
So-
Wait, start this one out. I'm still thinking.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are we
That's
done?
it. That's right.
Yeah,
You gotta give me like.
That's it.
There we go.
That's
Good
the
enough.
timer.
I won't stop if you do that. I might just pull over.
All right, Ori, who you got?
All right, so that was fun. That was first and foremost, that was a great debate. Shout out to Jalen for that topic. I think this is something that a lot of people on NBA TikTok talk about a lot, especially the Steve Nash MVP. I think a lot of people disagree with that wholeheartedly. And you both did a great job. I'm going to lean Fluent for this particular battle, just mostly because of I've always felt that Steve Nash really did deserve those awards, and to a certain extent after a lot of diving in and stuff. I feel like I've always been on the fence though, and pieces of your argument kind of compelled me to come back down on that side, and to me that means something. So yeah, Fluent for the point on this one.
Chris?
Yeah. Both sides making great arguments for sure. Hang on, let me get my notes here. Obviously, Chilton did a great job of diving into the fact that LeBron was the villain at the time, and the fact that the Bulls, like a lot of their 60+ wins, was predicated based on the fact that they had an elite defense, not because of Derrick Rose. With Fluence, obviously, like the whole like averaging 18 and 10, like that's like lower, like as far as goes for scoring, a lot lower than most MVPs. And then comparing him to the numbers of the other side. I will give this one to Chilton though, mainly just because I feel like when you actually I feel like he was like a little more specific with who should have won. Which I feel like when you talk about who's the least deserving, like talking about who, like the person that actually deserved to win, which Fluent did as well, but I feel like Chilton just did like a little bit better of a job being more specific.
Well, 1-1. And the tie break goes to
Wait.
Waiting.
Yes.
we going with the Greek guy. We go
please.
with Fluent with the edge. Fluent with the edge on this one. I think his the argument with D'Antoni's system, really kind of helping out Steve Nash, allowing him to thrive, and him just bringing up the list of players, right? Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Kobe, all these guys. I think if Chill brought up like Dwight Howard, who had a great year that year too, 2011. Kevin Durant, even had a phenomenal year. You could say it was definitely better than Derrick Rose. So I think Fluent there.
Well, like I actually think that part of the reason why I leaned Chilton was because I completely disagreed with what Fluent said about like just dropping any other point guard into that system. I don't think that's the case at all. Like I think that's
not what I said. That's not what I said.
Yeah, I don't think.
So, hold on. What I said was take any other great point guard and put him into that system, and how does that team change? Not very much. A great point guard. And then I said, who could you have put in to the Cavs other than LeBron that could have done that with the Cavs? Nobody. My
argument, and I was kind of like battling with myself which way. I mean, I could have. I was making the case of why Derrick Rose wasn't the league MVP because of the other guys during that time. I mean, I could have poked.
You know what I thought you were going to do? Because I actually agree that it's Derrick Rose. But you know what I would have done? That I was waiting for you to say that would have been like the dagger. Is if you said he won it because he did all of that. He put up those numbers, 150+ games without Amari Stoudemire, who only played.
I wasn't gonna bring that up. And the reason why I wasn't gonna bring that up, because I felt like there was so many other things that I could have brought up. Like you talked about the record for example, Tone. Just so you know, that 54 wins, that was third best in the league. That wasn't just in the Western Conference. That was the third best record in the league. Not only that, Steve Nash was responsible for 50% of their offense almost. In addition to him being, but I was thinking to myself, like, I don't need to do that because I'm arguing against Derrick Rose. I'm not arguing why Steve Nash should have won the league MVP. I'm arguing why Derrick Rose should not have won the league MVP the year that he won it. And the guys, like, to your point, yeah, I actually forgot about Dwight Howard. And Dwight Howard, now that I think about it, Dwight Howard, not only was Dwight Howard in the conference, not only was he that I thought that he had a legit argument for league MVP that year. I also am on record saying, and this is the other thing that I screwed up. I mean, I could argue that there was 5 players in the game better than Derrick Rose during that time.
Yeah.
I could have made that. I could have made that argument, but I'm thinking about at that particular time, James came in third. I think James came in third, and I think Bryant came in second. And that's who I tried to focus my argument on, and I kind of got myself thrown off the track instead of sticking to what I wanted to stick to.
Pretty sure it's Dwight that came in second, not Kobe in 2011.
Who did?
Not Kobe.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard. I think he came in
Howard
second. Yeah.
came in fourth. Did he come in second that year?
I'm pretty sure he came in second.
Then LeBron. Yeah, I think it was Howard second, then LeBron.
Yeah.
And then
Okay. I thought he was.
Yeah.
I thought it was fourth. My fault. Mm-hmm.
Actually, he was third in the West. By the way, I'm looking it up now. He was third in the West. There was three 60-win teams that year. 2 in the West, 1 in the East.
Third best record in the league.
So he had like the 4th best record in the league. He was third in the West. You had San Antonio with 63 wins, Dallas with 60 wins, Detroit with 64 wins. Like that. Even LeBron. Anyways, that's okay.
Hang on.
I digress. I think I got the right year.
In 2005, 2006, the San Antonio Spurs won 63 games. The Dallas Mavericks won 60 games. The Phoenix Suns won 54 games. That was it.
No, look at the West. Look at the East, I mean. Look at Detroit.
And then in the East, Detroit won 64 games.
Yeah, so they were the 4th best record. And you had 3 teams with 60 wins. So if you're going to give it based on wins, give it to Chauncey Billups. No, I'm just kidding. Give it to Tim Duncan. Give it to Dirk. If you're not going to pick a guy who plays, if you're picking guys who don't play defense, give the guy who at least gives you some rebound.
Dirk won it the next year, right? Yeah, Dirk won
Who
the year after. Dirk won the year after. Right? After national. Yeah, okay.
correct.
They gave
He
it
did
to Dirk.
win it,
Yeah.
All right. Chris, it's to you, sir. SB Talk Sports. What up?
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna stick with not stick with, actually. We're gonna go back to the college talk. I gave a college question last week. We do the same thing here.
Let me just say something quickly, because SB Talk Sports said something, and I haven't seen you in a while. So just for anybody who's going to be watching, and remember this show, what we are, Fluent versus Chill, everybody. You can bring your topics. You can pick the format, who battles who, how many battle who. It could be 7 against 1. It could be 12 against 2. It can be 75, whatever. 1 versus 1. But they're picking. Remember, SB Jalen in this particular case picked the topic and gave us the talk, what point we have to argue for. So it doesn't necessarily mean we believe it. We just have to debate it and prove it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense when I say it that way? Okay. So he's not saying that Derrick Rose didn't deserve it in his heart of hearts. He's saying he's been told he has to make that point. Okay, go ahead, Chris. My apologies.
Oh, good. So I pulled up the list of the top 25 players of the 21st century of the best college, the best college basketball players of the era. So I'm going to have you guys debate the 2 best players on the list. So Fluent, I wasn't too nice to you by not being on the first time, so I'm going to give you the break here, and I'm going to have you debate against your guy Kevin Durant. So you're going to vote for debate in favor of Anthony Davis from 2011, 2012, and Chill, you're going to debate on behalf of Kevin Durant for 2006, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going Kentucky versus Texas versions of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Bang bang.
You're going to be arguing for Anthony Davis, and he is going to be arguing for
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
Non-superstar?
He flipped it.
Jay,
Who just passed Michael Jordan in the all-time scoring list?
it means nothing. It
Sure. It
nothing.
means something. It means something,
It
baby.
means nothing. We had that debate yesterday on Fluent and Chill. So, Chris, you pick whether you want to go first or you want Jay to go first.
I went first the last time.
But it was against me, so he's his topic.
All right. It sounds like Chill doesn't want to go first. So
I can go first.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problem going first. If you want me to go first, I'll go first. Yeah. Tell me.
All right, go ahead then. Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
I remember we still live in the big man era during this time. Like Shaq's still running around. Dwight Howard is emerging as one of the best big men. And when you get to the pro level, like these guys are what the future of the NBA is. And I'm paying attention at that time solely to this kid at Ohio State named Greg Oden. I'm watching him like night in and night out. I'm watching this kid. Meanwhile, there's this kid in Austin, Texas. Every time I turn on the TV, 35 and 17, 29 and 16, 30 and 12. And I'm like, who is this kid, Kevin Durant? Well, turns out Kevin Durant is the future of basketball. I mean, he hadn't been what anybody had seen. He wasn't what anybody had seen. He was what nobody had seen what Kevin Durant was during that time. I mean, this guy is 19 years old. He's 6'10", could score on anybody, got a ridiculous handle. In addition to having a ridiculous handle, got a money mid-range jump shot. Wiry's not really that strong, but he actually, I think if you can fact check me on this, I think he led the Big 12 that year as a freshman in both scoring and rebounding. The last guy to do that as a freshman was nobody. Nobody did that. Okay, so I just want to put that out there. I just want to put that out there. And in addition to him being able to do that, I think he set a tournament record for freshmen scoring in a game. So with him only playing 1 year, I mean, I think he pioneered that one and done rule. Like we knew that Kevin Durant was one of those guys who I knew for a fact watching him that, okay, this guy does not need to be in school. There's certain guys that I watch and I pay attention to what their game looks like on the next level. And Kevin Durant was clearly better than everybody else, with the exception of Greg Oden, in my estimation. At that time, he was clearly better than everybody else. And his game looked like it was going to translate. 6'10", could shoot the mid-range, could handle the basketball, gets you on the wing, could knock down the three. In addition to knocking down the three, freak athlete at 6'10", wiry, strong as an ox. Even though at that time he wasn't really like physically built, he still was strong enough to get bigger guys off of him. And playing in that league in the Big 12 during that time, that was a big time league. So Kevin Durant being the bucket getter that he was, it's obvious that what he did in college translated to the pro game, and he didn't need to be in college considering everything that he was doing at that level. And coming to the Big 12 during that time, which was one of the best leagues in the country, and you had the ACC, you had the Big East. It was better. It was actually better than the Pac-10, and it was better than the Pac-10 and even the SEC. And Kevin Durant was one of the 3 or 2 best players in the country, with the exception of Greg Oden. So I thought he was fantastic.
KD was fantastic indeed, and obviously phenomenal score. And obviously people to this day say that Greg Oden, even though people might have said like he was the better prospect, it should have been Kevin Durant been the number 1 overall pick. I'm pretty sure it was only because like it was like the lack of strength. Mm-hmm. You know who didn't have that lack of strength though was Anthony Davis. KD was. It feels like the only thing in college that KD has over Anthony Davis is the fact that he was the better scorer. If we're talking about overall impact and who's able to provide better for his teammates without using the basketball, it's Anthony Davis above and beyond. Mm-hmm. Because I remember when I believe I was in 5th grade when John Wall and Boogie Cousins were teamed up. Everyone was expecting Kentucky to go all the way, but they ended up losing, and I believe the Elite Eight to West Virginia. Mm-hmm. There was never a doubt in anyone's mind that Kentucky was going to make it to the national championship and come out on top, and it was all because of Anthony Davis, mm-hmm. one of the best defensive players of all time. Not even just in pros day, but like especially for the for the NCAA. I believe he averaged like 4.7 blocks per game. He like leads like most of the advanced stats, like from like PER to to like box plus minus in those areas, like and everything along those lines. I know like the only thing that like holds AD back in a lot of these regards is I do believe, I forgot who they lost to. I think they lost to Michigan State or whoever there was in their conference tournaments, but it wasn't Michigan State, it was someone else. But regardless, 38-2, the most dominant team I've ever seen, and I'm not here to poo-poo on his teammates because like they had a solid supporting cast. But that being said, it was Anthony Davis, the one that was like carrying putting the team on his back, anchoring the best defense of all time, while also being one of the most impactful offensive players like in the league as well. So so much of the fact that he got selected to the Olympics a few weeks after he was drafted by New Orleans. So you definitely don't see that much anymore. Obviously it happened with Christian Laettner, but it definitely doesn't happen much with pros today, especially guys that are just one and done. So Kevin Durant, phenomenal, phenomenal college basketball player, but I do believe that Anthony Davis, there is levels to this.
Absolutely, that absolutely there are levels to it, and I'm glad you brought that are levels to this. And I think that when you run down like what you just said about Anthony Davis and the fact that he was on a bomb squad at the University of Kentucky, which would explain why they ended up. I think they had 3 first round or 4 first round. I think Kevin Durant was the only I think he was the only first round pick that they had at Texas. In addition to him only being the only first round pick that they had, he actually led. He didn't lead Texas. He led the Big 12 in scoring, rebounding, and blocks. That's what he was doing as a freshman, right? So in addition to him doing that, I mean, he's got a laundry list. He was just like Anthony Davis. He was a player of the year. So
comparing him to like who had like the better teammates and everything, that would be a better argument if they had like a similar resume for who made it further. Kevin Durant didn't even get past the first weekend for the NCAA tournament. So while AD had better teammates, he took advantage of that and like not only made them great, he made them the best college basketball team of all time. So if you switch places, I think Texas might have gotten a little bit better. It may have been back and forth, but there's no shot in hell that Kentucky would have been just as good with Kevin Durant there instead of Anthony Davis.
Jalen?
That was a good one. I like the Chill's best point definitely was Anthony Davis having a bomb squad, Kevin Durant really kind of carrying his team. Like I said, he was the only kind of NBA first round draft pick on that team. While Anthony Davis, Kentucky, they had 3-4 guys. But Chris, that Olympic point was great. I love that point because I forgot about that one. The Olympic point was great, and I think even the counter to show that Anthony Davis did have a better team, but he took advantage of it. Won the Natty, him defensively doing all that. So I'm gonna give this one to Chris. I just think he covered all the bases for Anthony Davis and did his thing with this one.
I struggle with the bomb squad versus bum squad because I argue with myself. Did having a bomb squad help him to the point where they couldn't focus on him and he was able to kind of put up numbers, and or having a bum squad? Well, was it just, hey, here, Kevin, do what you got to do so his numbers get inflated? Or is it more impressive that he put up big numbers because he didn't have a bunch of stars next to him, and so they could focus on him, especially in the college game? And for this debate, I'm going to say that Chris brought up a lot of points that I did not know about Anthony Davis, but forgot, like you said, I completely forgot about the Olympic thing. But I had 8 tick marks to 7 for Chilltown Hoops.
Ooh,
nice. Goodness. Oh no. So that puts all the pressure on me. We do this all the time. What are we doing? So I once again thought this was great.
To do that, I don't even have a vote until I hear the first one.
I know, right?
I pick the opposite for the.
That was great. Yeah, you guys both did a great job. Great topic. Once again, at the end of the day, though, I did find myself being more compelled by what Chris was bringing to the table. He did bring some points that I wasn't aware of as well. And I think with that, some of that new information, it just pushed me that way. And I have to say, I was very impressed with Chris and what he did. Yeah, I would lean All-American Hooper on this one.
All right,
sir.
Just so you know, Jalen, Anthony Davis, in addition to him, he's how many guys played in the NBA on that crew.
Oh yeah, that was during like Kentucky's years.
Yeah.
Kentucky every year they had 5-6 NBA guys, 100%.
Not only and to amplify Tone's point, I mean, they were in the national championship. Anthony Davis, John Calipari is on record saying Anthony Davis is not playing well. I think he went 1 for 10 in that game. He came in the locker room at halftime and he said, quote, "You guys score the rest of the points. I'm going to block all the shots. I'm going to get all the rebounds." When you play on a bomb squad, you could do that.
Hey, chill. You counted like that, you would have won.
Yeah,
you say that around, I would have got you.
When you play on a bomb squad, you can do that sort of thing. So,
Texas?
Yeah.
One more time? With Texas?
No, he did not.
No, I said, could he do that in Texas?
No. No.
Calipari only having 1 national title is pretty wild.
Yes.
Well, one and done. One and done.
I know, but for the teams
you still got to build a team. You still got to build a team. You can't just throw a bunch of stars together and expect them to win in year 1. It's very rare.
It's a very tough method, yeah.
I still think that team that lost to Wisconsin is like the greatest college basketball team I've ever seen. They were literally going 5 off, 5 on. You know how absurd that is in college? When you have that, like 5 on, 5 off, and you're still amazing. That Wisconsin game, obviously they lost, but that's still the greatest team I've seen.
What year was that? That was in 15?
15, yeah.
15?
Yeah.
Duke won. When Julian Loganforth and Duke won.
Yeah.
All right, Ori, are you ready to go?
Sports fans, Chill here. And I'm Fluent. We're bringing you all the Sports Fluent merch you need. Tees, hoodies, hats, mugs, gear made for the conversation. Just hit sportsfluent.com/merch.
Yeah. Get that merch. Get that merch. All right. So, yeah, if we don't got anybody, I got a topic. If we don't have one going in the topic. So
no one has jumped up. Oh.
All right. Here we go. Well, defense wins championships, they say, right? And so that being the case, I wanted to focus on some defensive specialists, and I wanted to bring us to the year 2026. You guys are in charge of a franchise. You need a defensive founding block to be your next choice, right? So I want Fluent to be arguing for Dennis Rodman as his player, and I want Chill to be arguing for Ben Wallace as his player. Ooh. And I want to see in 2026, obviously with current rule sets, current everything, which one of those guys you think would be more impactful as a defender?
Interesting. All right. I can do that. Sure.
All right. So Dennis Rodman, I need a defensive stopper to anchor my team this season in 2026. And the reason why Dennis Rodman is the perfect choice over anybody else is because Dennis can do something in today's NBA that very few, nobody could do. He can guard every position. Literally, not just, like they say about other players where he can guard. No. He can defend and stop every position because of his knowledge of the game. So we could talk about his physical attributes. We know he was strong and fast and and aggressive, but here's a guy that stepped out of Detroit Pistons, San Antonio Spurs into the most complicated offense in the NBA. And why am I bringing up offense, you ask? You'll understand in a second. The triangle offense. And there are players today, like 90% of them, that don't understand the offense. That's why they don't run it anymore. And he picked it up like that, super quick. Here is a guy who used to watch his teammates shoot in their warm-ups and count how many rotations of the ball and understand the trajectory that if it was coming from this angle and this side, because it spins 7.34 times before it hits the rim, it's going to bounce that way. People make fun of him. He's one of the most smartest, highest IQ basketball players you'll ever imagine. So he can guard all 5 positions. We know that he won the rebounding title, more than a dozen times. So he's going to get you rebounding. He can guard all 5 positions. And again, in today's NBA, he can guard all of those centers that we're all worried about, whether it's a Draymond Green type or a Jokic type, because we saw him go head-to-head with Shaq. There's no one as big and strong as Shaq in today's NBA, so he can handle that. But he also went up against Karl Malone. Well, there's no one as big, as strong, and as powerful as a power forward as Karl Malone today. So he played those guys. He was able to defend Shaq, Karl Malone, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. He was able to guard every position elite. There's nothing more important than a guy that can do all of those things. And unlike some other people we're going to bring up here in a minute, he did it for a long period of time. It wasn't just a couple of years and then he was done. He was able to do it over the span of over a decade. And let's remember, he changed his game for this. When he came out of college, when he was in Detroit, he actually could score. He could shoot. People think he can't score anymore because of what happened after. No, he said, what role do the Pistons need me to play? And he adapted his game and says, okay, I'm going to be the best defender, the best rebounder that I can be. And that's what he was. And there are people who will tell you, the Seattle Supersonics will say, the Bulls only win that championship, not because of Jordan against Seattle, because of his rebounding and because of his defense. That's the kind of impact that he had.
The great thing about having an impact is that you're there. And we live in a space today where coaches are just so much smarter and have so much to work with. I'm not concerned with a guy like Ben Wallace not being able to play because he could be more of a situational guy. I could use him in stretches as opposed to him Not just use him in stretches. I could use him in stretches and not have to worry about him flying off the handle like Dennis Rodman would and possibly getting kicked out of games where I can't use him anymore. I don't have to worry about that with Ben Wallace. Not only do I not have to worry about that with Ben Wallace, I can hide Ben Wallace as a defensive player offensively. And the reason why I know that is because I watched the Minnesota Timberwolves do it with Rudy Gobert on the regular, because Rudy Gobert doesn't really give you much as an offensive player. But what he does do is he finishes around the rim, he runs the floor, and he creates a lot of offense just off of rebounding alone, which is what Ben Wallace did. At 6'8", 6'9", ridiculously versatile. You can play zone. You can put him at the bottom of the zone. You can even play 3-2, and you can put him at the top of the zone because he's a really good closeout big. Because he can play wings, which is what this league is dominated by today. This league is dominated by 6'9" wings, and Ben Wallace could switch onto 6'8", 6'9" wings and be as physical. Not just be as physical, he can defend as well. In addition to him being able to defend, he's an elite rebounder. So with him being an elite rebounder, I can hide him. I can hide him in zone. In addition to hiding him in zone, I can actually have him as a lob threat, and I can play him situationally. So I can play him 5 minutes here. I can play him 10 minutes here. I can play him a grand total of 25, 30 minutes and still not have to worry about him being played off the floor, off the strength that he can still do those other things. What I mean those other things is I mean rolling to the basket, putting him in space where he can actually roll to the basket and hit the cutter, right, in the short roll. In addition to him hitting the guy in the short roll, he can also go to the rim and catch lobs. So he couldn't shoot free throws very well. All right, I get that part. But with that being said, neither could Dennis Rodman. But he could do the other things defensively, and I can count on him. And I can count on him being on the floor, and I can count on him absolutely bolstering my defense and us being so much better as a defense, especially in today's game where you need to be able to get stops and you need to be able to rebound, because we don't talk nearly as much about how prevalent the offense is.
You know, it's funny. Don't let him fool you with Dennis Rodman flying off the handle, because that wasn't on the court Dennis Rodman. That was off the court Dennis Rodman. But Dennis Rodman could go to Vegas and party all night and still be there and put up, a 20 rebound game. Let's remember, who was the person that caused malice in the palace? Oh, yeah, that was Ben Wallace. So you can absolutely get him to throw his game and be thrown out of the game and be thrown out of the league because he is a psychopath. You talk about free throws? No. Don't try to trivialize and say they both were bad. No, Dennis Rodman shot almost 58, almost 60%. Ben Wallace was in the 40s. He shot like 45%. So in today's NBA, yeah, we're putting him on the line because he cannot shoot. Dennis Rodman had seasons where he shot over 30% from three. So the liability of offense is way worse with Ben Wallace, and he can't guard once he gets into those smaller ball lineups. He's going to be lost. You're going to have to pull him out. So you have too many liabilities. You're playing 5-on-4 on offense. If they ever get in trouble, you can't play him late in games because they'll just foul him. Dennis Rodman scored more points, had more rebounds, had more assists. He's a more complete player and defensive player than Ben Wallace.
So it's interesting you mentioned that Ben Wallace was the one who started the malice in the palace. Can you give us, Tony, any other incidents where Ben Wallace had things like that happen? No, you can't. And the reason why you can't is because nothing like that ever happened with Ben Wallace. This was something that was random. Meanwhile, we got Dennis Rodman kicking cameramen. We got Dennis Rodman bumping referees and getting thrown out of games. We got Dennis Rodman causing fights with the Chicago Bulls. We have him doing all that kind of stuff. So I can't really depend on him on a night-to-night basis because at any point he could flip out on me. Ben Wallace, on the other hand, I want to stick straight to basketball when we talk about Ben Wallace. Yes, better offensive player, no question about that. I'll get at the Dennis Rodman. He averaged 26 a game in college. However, Ben Wallace came to the league and adapted to his role immediately, very much like Dennis did, but adapted to his role immediately and was as productive as anybody could be. Was a double-digit rebounder, not only a double-digit rebounder, 4-time, not once, not twice, not 3 times. 4-time defensive player of the year, which means that he could adapt to different systems because he played in the 90s and he also played in the 2000s. And in addition to him playing in the 2000s, you saw what he did.
Where were you? You're sleeping.
The timer literally just went off. By the way, the 10 seconds just
right
left. So it turns out you didn't need the
10
timer.
seconds?
What was it? That was a minute. Yeah, that was a minute. Yeah.
Oh, he gets 15 seconds for the last one.
Oh, I thought 30 seconds. Yeah, it's been 30 seconds.
Yeah. I feel like the time keeps on going down every week, by the way, because it was 2 minutes at first, then it was 1, now it's only 30 seconds, 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Okay, got it.
Hey, man, we going to vote it out. Dang. All right, so I think both guys, talked about, how both guys impacted the team, how both players, their weaknesses and strengths. Obviously, offensively, neither guy wasn't that, but defensively, both guys leading teams defensively, switching on to players. The 4-time defensive player of the year obviously is a great point. Fluent with Dennis Rodman being able to guard all 5 positions, I think is a great point today's game. But I do think the kill shot point was definitely. I don't think Dennis Rodman lasts in the league. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. I don't think Dennis Rodman lasts in this league in the modern era with some of the antics that he did. Yeah, he's not. At the end of the day, you gotta be out there on the court, play the games to contribute. I think that was.
Ben Wallace had more texts and missed more games than Dennis Rodman.
I just thought it was a different time. Like I said, today, day and age. Dennis Rodman
would be applauded for his nail polish and hair colors, guys. They'd build him
Dennis Rodman will be on Twitter every night tweeting something ridiculous and get suspended. Is what I just think he'd be
saving the league like he saved North Korea, buddy.
Hey, he could have said that. I might have won it for you for that point.
He'd be showing up to the finals in a wedding dress. They'd love him. He was ahead of his time.
Chris. He was a fashion symbol. He's an icon.
Rolling up on a motorcycle.
He did get Prime, Carmen Electra, right? Yeah, so I mean, he was doing something right. He was doing
Madonna. Yeah.
So I was just confused because I could have sworn that Ori said if you want to build a team, I guess like a defensive anchor, but like both of you guys cover the offensive end. Is that did I mishear that? Or maybe I could be
he did say a defensive anchor, but I think it's important that we brought up the offense, at least in my perspective, to show how smart he was, but also because you can't have a defensive liability. Like the best offense is best defense is a good offense.
Oh, of course, yeah. But no, regardless, though, what was that?
I'm asking what game he's watching. Look, he's not even paying attention.
CJ, I heard everything he just. I heard everything that he just said. He's talking about Dennis Rodman and CJ McCullough just hit a shot on this kid Jenkins to put them up 2 with like 15 seconds. They're laying in Detroit or in a dogfight. But I'm listening.
You're not alone, by the way. But,
yeah. OKC and Celtics.
Yep. So anyway, Yep. But both sides made great points. Between Fluent brought up the versatility, which is extremely important in today's NBA. I like how Chill covered the fact that the Timberwolves are able to work Rudy Gobert into a defensive system, like it would probably be similar with Wallace. That all being said, I will give the edge to Fluent because like I said, I just feel like he covered more bases with the versatility and everything, which I feel like for big men versatility can get a little overrated, but for Dennis Rodman, outside, I think either him or Draymond, I think the two best versatile defenders of all time. So I'll give the edge to Fluent here.
Nice, and not to just continue the pattern, but I had to give the edge to Fluent on this one as well. Both made great arguments. The only thing was from Chill, I think it was a couple more stats I would have wanted maybe from Wallace, because I think there's a few stats that edge in his favor that could have put him above Rodman a little bit more. But because you guys both kind of went that offensive route a little bit, I think, which I understand, I think that was important to have him as the anchor. But I think at the end of the day, there was just a few more points, very slightly Fluent's favor. But that was a great argument, guys. I appreciate you guys taking that on. I know that was random. So
I just want to be clear. You're watching Atlanta. You're watching Atlanta, Detroit. You guys are watching Boston. OKC. I'm watching LA, Indiana. Who are you watching?
I'm watching my betting tracker with LA, with Atlanta. I'm just watching the tracking.
He's just watching the bets.
That's what I'm doing right now.
He's got the ticker.
I couldn't really give
so many games, so I was just watching.
Unfortunately, I couldn't give you the stats for. First of all, this was an argument that I really don't believe. Because I feel like I could have made a better argument for Dennis Rodman, but I did the best that I could with Ben Wallace. I can't give you rebounding stats because I can say, well, Ben Wallace led the league in rebounding twice. Well, Dennis did it 7 times. Well, I can't say that, right? I can't say that. Ben Wallace was on one of the best defensive teams with the Detroit Pistons. Well, shit, that 89 Piston team when Dennis Rodman was the defensive player of the year was arguably the best defensive team in NBA history. So, I mean, it's difficult for me to argue.
On the Bulls, that could be top 10 too.
On top of that, I mean, he's a part of a team that he was first team all defense with Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, 3 guys being first team all defense. That's never happened in NBA history ever. We had 3 guys,
which is why the Rodman craziness is the best point. Like that's why I was coming up with that. Like, yo, he ain't gonna be available because if he is, he's gonna be a huge problem for everybody.
I think honestly, he's gonna. Now that the debate's over, I would say I think Dennis Rodman would actually the opposite of what you guys are saying. I think he would get into everybody else's head because let's be honest, everyone's a little bit soft and sensitive nowadays. I think he would drive everybody else to do stupid stuff and they'd get thrown out.
Yeah. Including the refs.
I think he would get into their head like he did with Karl Malone, where Karl Malone was more worried about wrestling him on the floor than playing basketball. I think he would do that with most of the guys today.
Well, see,
Jokic would be punching him in the back of the head like he did to one of the twins, one of the Morris twins, and be thrown out. Yeah.
His brothers would be there every game. Rodman's
well, that stat that I was wondering though is the Rodman thing. Real quick, is he never had more than 1 steal or block averaged in any of his seasons. Rodman.
Not only did he not that,
if you look through his
he never led the league.
Yeah, go ahead. And blocks and steals, yeah.
He never led the league in rebounds. I mean, he never led the league in blocks or steals. Not 1 year did he do that.
That's crazy. And he never averaged like above 1 in either one, I believe. Is if you look through, I think he was like never had a solid whole number above in either category. If you look
in
through
blocks that's his thing wasn't blocks and steals though.
Right. No. That's what I mean. But as counting stats, Ben Wallace kills in those stats, because Ben Wallace has so many stocks that it's the difference between them would be enormous.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, that's it. That's it for today. Any parting words, Mr. Chill?
I got lumped up today real good. I can tell. I mean, like my glass is a little crooked because I got beat up pretty good today. So I'll be back now. I'll be back next week. It happens, man.
You weren't dealt the best hand.
Yeah. We weren't giving you good ones.
Nah,
you the worst side of every argument. I think.
Right. It happens. So, you get in the ring, you're gonna get roughed up sometime. But I'll be back.
Even the best get swept. LeBron.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'll be back next week, and we will see you guys again. Until then, you guys know where to find us. We are here every Wednesday. My man, myself, that's me, Chill, Tone, that's Fluent right there. That's Ori, that's Chris, that's Jalen. We are here every Wednesday, 8:30. We do this debate thing. Bring your topics and bring your game because we are down to get it on. So we will see you guys soon. Until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. When's the last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. Talk to you guys soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Absolutely, man. It was good to see you guys tonight. This was dope.
The stage is set. Diversity of takes, nothing but buckets of debate. Thanks to Sports Fluent, Chilltown Hoops, All-American Hoops, Hoop Social, and Jalen Carter Music. Fluent versus Chill versus everyone. The internet's best sports debate show. Subscribe now. Stay heated. Stay hooping.
Now you're more fluent.